did have a question come in, Uncle Bruce, through the email, and it has to do with science and religion and how these two forces have been pretty much competing with each other for many, many years, and even go further than that to say that the ideas of creation and evolution have been polarized in so many ways. You've got religion with the creation, science and the evolution, and some people say, oh, it's one or the other. But do you have any insight into how these two forces actually do exist, or do they simultaneously exist? Are they mutually exclusive? How do creation and evolution work together?
Well,
do they work together?
Okay, so this is real helpful, Alex. That's a good question. The idea is there's a group that believe in evolution, that there's a slow process of change over time, and that animals evolve slowly, that we started out as amoebas, and then you put a time scale, and then the amoebas come together in community and form different animals, and then the animals evolve, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, evolution. Creationism said, oh, everything was already here to begin with. And that is what has really separated the science part from the religious part. Religious part claiming, yes, everything was already here. God created it, boom, and there was all at once, the entire earth, everything was complete. And that's hard to resolve. How do you resolve two quite obviously polarized perceptions? One, everything was here from the beginning. Two, everything evolved from the beginning. And the answer is, and I love this, both are right. You know, how can both be right? And the answer is this. What was here first before the physical world was the energy world. This is quantum physics. The whole universe is made out of energy. Everything came from energy. The energy that we are immersed in, wherever you are right now, wherever you're sitting, there's energy all about you right now. Man-made energy such as cell phones, TV broadcasts, radio broadcasts, planetary energy from the sun, and from the minerals on the planet and the crystals and all that. There's energy involved as well. Now, what's interesting is the energy gives shape to the matter. And this is really cool because this is the understanding of quantum physics. The field, that means the energy. This is a quote from Einstein. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. And the relevance about that, it says that the invisible energy is actually shaping the material mechanical world. And to give you an example of that, and in my lectures I give an example, I take a piece of iron and use a file and file it down, file the iron down and get a pile of iron dust called iron filings. And I go, then what? I say, well, I put those iron filings in a salt shaker and sprinkle them on a piece of paper, and I get a random pile of iron filings every time. And I say, okay, wait. I'm going to do something different. Before I sprinkle the iron filings this time, I put a magnet underneath the piece of paper. When I sprinkle the iron filings, when there's a magnet in the paper, under the paper, the iron filings don't form randomly. They form the beautiful structure of the magnetic field around that magnet. So, and every time you throw away those filings and sprinkle it again, you get the same the magnetic field. What was the point? Where did the structure of all those iron filings come from? When I first did it, just random pile of iron filings. When I did it with the magnet, the iron filings form very concrete structure. The answer is the field. The magnetic field determined the disposition of the iron filings. So here's my connectivity moment. Is when the universe was forming, when the earth was forming, there were energy everywhere. Everything is energy. The earth itself is energy. So this is the part that we have to separate from Newtonian physics that says, oh, the universe is made out of matter and energy. And we go into quantum physics, and quantum physics says, no, everything is energy. Even the matter that you're looking at is actually energy. Okay, now let's bring it all together and say this. The energy was in the field before the physical particles, the cells, were in the field. When the cells evolved as cells, they were like iron filings. And so when the cells evolved, they didn't just form random piles of cells all over the place. When the cells evolved, they created structures that complemented the field. When the field changed, so did the animals and the structures in the field change. There was a period where we had a field for dinosaurs. But that doesn't exist anymore, and neither do the dinosaurs exist anymore. And all of a sudden you say, so why is this relevant, Lipton? And the answer is simple. The idea of the organisms existed in the field before the physical manifestation of cells that came together to create those animals in the material realm. And so I said, well, creationism occurred, yeah, because there was energy in the field, but there wasn't any structure. The structure took time, because once you started with particles, you had to slowly accumulate the particles to make the cells. And then you had to take the cells and accumulate them to make the organisms. There's a time period. So the creationist part, timeless, just happens in the field. Boom. Evolution, time bound, because it takes physical time to get the physical particles, in the case of iron filings in my study, to conform to the existing field. So evolution is a time element, creation is an instant element. Both of them are required to provide for who we are at this moment in time and what's happening to us in the future. And that's why studying the field becomes really the best indicator of what's going to happen in the future. But in regard to religion and science, the separation that I believe in creationism and I believe in evolution, and I go, okay, bring them together. That's what this whole beautiful evolution part about is. The Newtonian theory is a polarity theory. Matter, energy, separate from each other, polar views, blah, blah, blah. Quantum physics, a unitized story. Energy and molecules are one and the same. And so we are coming from a polarized view of the world, in the case we just mentioned, creationism versus evolution. I say, no. In quantum physics, they both come together. Creationism existed, but there was no physical structure in that creationist picture. There was a field. The field then contributes to the organization of the particles, which then take time to complement or manifest that field. So evolution was a time element. Creation was an instant element. But when you put the two together, it says, yeah, make it work. And I really love it because it's like, again, the polarities of the planet are causing the problems. It's the unity that will bring us together in harmony. And now science versus religion in regard to creation and versus evolution is not a versus anymore. Creation and evolution, and harmony is what we're looking for. But any group or organization that wants to polarize, by definition, is preventing our evolution, because in polarity, you're not providing harmony or unity. And this is what quantum physics, the whole emphasis of quantum physics is. This is a unified whole evolution, planet, energy, matter, it's all one. And coming together as one is actually what this planet needs right now. So can we bring religion and science together? And actually, look, the Catholic Church for how many years said, oh, evolution, Darwin, wrong, it's Genesis. And then he finally came around and go, yeah, well, okay, so there's some evolution going on too. It's like, yeah, but both sides have to come together. And the material scientists, the ones that study the proteins and the genes and the molecules, are really going to have to learn to become quantum scientists, because that will let go of their hold on that there's a physical reality and it's separate from an energy reality, and come back together that the energy and the physical are one and the same. And then unity will arise. And that, I believe, is the direction of our evolutionary movement at this time, Alex.
Yep, there seems to be a theme again of bringing things together, bringing these polar opposites together, and it's all one. And it's an encouraging thing to see that there are people on both science and the religious or spiritual sides recognizing this reality. That's definitely a really good thing. And there's so many more discussion points on that subject. I feel like we can actually go into it. You can go into it on the membership library. There are a whole number of videos that discuss this topic, even as far as what intelligent design really came from a scientist, and how that was a scientific theory that got taken over, co-opted by a religious group. So there's more. There's more.
The man, Denton, and it was so, for him, he came in as a scientist, and when he talked about intelligent design, basically said that evolution is not an accident. That it's just the way chemistry, when you put chemicals in a test tube, it's not an accident. What happens, you can predict what's going to happen before you put the things together. The same thing occurs if you put the chemistry in a field. You can predict what's coming on. And so he said that evolution wasn't a whole bunch of accidents that occurred, but there was a design in nature to bring them together. Well, of course, as soon as he said intelligent design, then the religious people jumped out right away and said, yeah, there's a design, so there must be a designer. And the next thing you know, they co-opted his mechanical material biology and turned it into a spiritual designer, a god, who is now moving all of this and doing all that. And it's funny because Denton was so upset he can't even use his own theory because it has been co-opted by these fundamentalists. And so basically, we're going to have to give freedom to intelligent design and take it out of the hands of an intelligent designer.